Welcome to the Spirits, Angels, and Guides Oh My podcast,
where the supernatural gets real, baby.
Hey, Spirit Gang, welcome back to our little podcast called Spirits, Angels, and Guides Oh My. I am Nancy Christine Brady.
And I am Tara Diana, and we are mediums.
We are. And today we're going to talk about how to find magic in a noisy world of mediums.
Did you say nosy or noisy? Noisy. I thought you said nosy. I'm like, oh, man.
You know what? Like even my voice to text, I apparently don't talk clearly because voice to text is dangerous on my phone. They're like, "What are you saying, girl?" And they give me the weirdest words. And
who are you talking to? Have you seen my voice to text? Every time I say, "Hey, Nan," it's like, "Hey, man." Hey, man. What's up? Okay. So we are talking about noise.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about how to find magic in a noisy world. And one of the things, for anyone who's been here listening to us for a while, they know that I've got a muggle job. So if you're not Harry Potter fans, that's a non-magical job. On the weekends, on Saturdays is when I do my readings. Tara does this full-time. So this is her work full-time. But one of the topics that really interested me was how to keep the magic of my weekend work when the world is so noisy. Because it definitely gets to a point where, we have to explore that feeling of losing the connection or being in connection, the intuition, the sacred threads that we weave when we're connecting to spirit versus when we're sitting in a non-magical day job that's got time demands and constraints on us and kind of, I don't want to say soul sucking, but I will. It's one of those things that I have to work a job. It pays the rent. It does all of these things. So how do we find the magic to stay in that connection? And then I guess sort of the reverse for you, because you can't be on all the time, right? So it's really about kind of going down this journey with Tara and I, not as teachers who have all the answers, but as people who are walking along beside our listeners, right? We're figuring out stuff just as much as the next guy. And so, what are some of those practices that we do when the overwhelm gets too heavy, when everything is real and the struggles really feel real and the connection feels far away? So, you ready?
I am all in. Enlighten us.
Enlighten
about you a lot, though, right? Like, we have a collective. So Nancy and I are part of a collective, and most of the people in the collective, I would say 80%, 85% are working muggle jobs.
Yeah.
So, when I'm putting out events and I'm like, okay, let's go and get this. And then, and people are like, oh my gosh, I've just worked, 2 weeks straight or whatever. I have to remember that just because this is my all and all be all, this is how I pay the rent.
Right.
This is how I, I don't know what I do with it. But anyway, I go to Whistler. So this is how I do this. It doesn't mean that everyone is. And so I have to be mindful that other people can get burnt out so easy, And one of the things is that when people come at me and they're like, you know what, I'm really busy right now. I've got all this work and I've had a really busy day and whatever. And I had to do some serious self-adjustment with that, because I'd be like, well, what do you think I'm doing? Just sitting here doing nothing? Mm-hmm. Like literally I'm creating and I'm doing all these things. I'm seeing clients in between and I'm building this over there and I'm doing this and whatever. I had to literally take a step back and say, oh, Tara, they're being honest. It is, they're tired, they're busy. And just because this is what you do full time doesn't mean that they can just jump into this at willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm. It's a different kind of busy. You're just as busy, but it's a different type of busy, right? And so I kind of want to paint for our listeners what noise looks like in my life, at least.
Is Dory dancing?
Can you hear her feet tippity
I
tapping?
can hear her feet. Want to talk about noise? Dory's doing that. You ASMR? Yeah.
My son just popped in the doorway and he brought some laundry up from downstairs. So he was waving. So she was doing her dance because she was so excited to see him. So
like, Dory's there.
she's tippity tapping. So that's part of the noise in my life, which is a beautiful noise that I'm going to miss one day. But the other noise, the noise that kind of gets on us is technology noise, for example. The constant pinging of emails and texts, the pull to Instagram, the weight of keeping up both my 9-to-5 job and my spiritual business. That's technology noise for me. Mental noise, right? The endless sort of mental scroll of, don't forget to do this. Did you send that email? What if you're falling behind? You have a lot of that mental noise too. Like, because you are not just doing your mediumship, you're running a collective, you're doing all of these other things in addition to that. So plus everything that you're going through in court, right? That's an extra noise that nobody really
Right.
And so
You know, Nan, that when I was getting my eyelashes done today, looking very beautiful, my phone pinged. My eyelash tech and I listen to my podcasts when we get my eyelash. Not this podcast. We don't listen to this. We listen to whatever I'm listening to, and we listen to it together. She counted that my phone pinged Messenger and emails, text 37 times. You counted? She's like, I counted this time. 37 times.
And how long does it take to get your eyelashes done?
An hour.
That's a lot in an hour.
And it was making me a little bit I'll be honest, I don't know if it was pissing me off because it was interrupting the podcast, but I was feeling a little bit trepidatious. I was like, oh my God, how many people need me that bad? Bing, 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 bing. But I will say this, Nan, I'm going to acknowledge this. I sent a messenger out to about 15 of you in the collective. Yeah. And then everyone started answering it. And all of a sudden I had this feeling oh my God, I sent that to people while they're at their jobs. And now and I quickly deleted everyone out of it and sent private messages. So I took responsibility for that. So talk about some mental stuff.
Yeah. So the mental noise. So that's the constant of us. Don't forget to do this. Did you do that email? Are you falling behind? And of course, the expectations that, work puts on people, then the expectations we put on ourselves creates a lot of anxiety around all of that, which to emotional noise, right? So we've got family responsibilities. We've got expectations from people at work, whether it be my staff that work for me or my boss has of me, and even my own inner critic, right? Because that's basically where I think the worst noise comes from, because we're always our own worst critic, right? So we're always like you said, oh my gosh, I sent all these things. I need to abort, to, remove messages. But that was a whole bunch of mental noise and emotional noise at the same time that you were having, right?
Right.
One of the things, just sort of a personal note that I realized where I was losing a lot of time and facing a lot of stress is I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is grab my phone, because my phone's my alarm. So I turn it off and then I start scrolling. And instead of actually just setting it down, taking a breath for 5 minutes and going, I need to just be connected, right? So that's where you tend to lose connection, because in the constant rapid scrolling, we feel like we're being connected via social media, but we couldn't be more distant from people, right? Does that make sense to you?
That's interesting. And that's really, really interesting. I find that for me, so when I wake up in the morning, I wake up hella early, but when I wake up in the morning, I instantly do my gap. I'm done. And then I pick up my phone and I literally, because my assistants are in different time zones than me, except for Dylan. So I instantly look to see if there's anything that's an emergency, because I have a window with Vanessa of only 2 hours in the morning before she goes to bed. So I need to take a look at that super quick. And so that literally starts my day off. And then I walk those dogs for 2 hours and I do some of my best work. You know this. You've been on the phone with me while we're connecting about podcasts and Spirit Lounge and all those things. I do some of my best work when I'm walking the dogs out in nature and chitter-chattering with and getting stuff done. I even ChatGPT'd our whole brochure. But I was walking the dogs.
But you are also in the zone, right? So you're in nature, you're with your dogs, and that allows you to, like you said, you did the gap. So you're grounded, but you're also connected. So it's not just that the marriage of technology, right? There's more involved with it. So I would definitely say to our listeners, what does noise look like for you? What is the soundtrack of your overwhelm right now that's buzzing? Like, is it your phone? Is it your family in your ear? What is it, right? And just set that aside, right? Just set that aside for a second. Some of the struggles that I have that I don't always share, and I share with you, obviously, especially when we do our catch up on the phone. But I will numb out as well by endlessly scrolling instead of sitting in silence. So at night, when I'm really needing to actually sit maybe in meditation or sit in silence, I find I'll be picking up the phone and looking at Instagram or Facebook or texting people to have that connection rather than going within to work on a connection with spirit, because I just need to sort of check out.
So I'm going to say something here. My phone's always been like my bestie. Right? My phone and we do everything together. So when people say I need to take a break from my phone, I never resonate with that. I've never felt like I needed to put my phone down. I've never felt I needed to get off social media. If something's bothering me in social media, I block and get rid of someone. I don't take myself off social media because there is a baby cow and a pit bull that needs me to see their pretty faces. But here's something interesting. When Ryan passed away, and you know this, when Ryan passed away, for the first week, I still had to walk the dogs, right? And there was no one that can walk my dogs, my husband and I, but I couldn't walk them alone. He had to come with me because I needed to have a conversation. I needed to be able to talk about things. Because going alone was scary. I needed noise. And to this day, Nan, I need noise. I can do a meditation, but I rarely sit in meditation now. And this may change, right? This is just my truth. Doesn't mean I'm any less spiritual. But I can't read a book anymore like I used to.
This makes sense to me though. And for the listeners who are just joining us, if I can bring them up to speed quickly, Tara very unfortunately lost her son in an awful, awful way. And so that was when I alluded to the court reference earlier, that's holding those people accountable for what they did. And I think I would be the same way as you, is I don't think I'd want to sit as my brain would go through processing what had happened. I would need noise. And I say, like, when I have a bad day at work, I put on very heavy metal when I drive home.
Oh my God, what was that metal that when Mike and I were over for dinner?
Oh, that was, oh gosh, it was called The Who, and they are,
Hungarian death metal or something?
Yeah, Hungarian throat singers, but it's like a death metal or something.
Please go look that up. Go look that up, everyone. That was something else.
HU is who they are, and they're very good. But I'll put on like Five Finger Death Punch, and I'll just be like, on the way home, because it just helps me get out anything that I'm processing.
That is hilarious.
I know. So I'm sharing. I'm doing my vulnerability part on this podcast. But the other thing I realized is, and you're very big guilty of this, of what I'm about to say. I say yes to everyone and no to myself. Right?
Well, I say yes to everything, and I still say yes to myself. I'll be like, oh, I will make this work. I'll make it work. But then that's what actually is very draining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very draining.
And then sometimes too, I lose the connection because I avoid it. So I don't want to be in my spiritual right now. I'm in my human. I had a shitty day. I just want to like push everything away and sit within it. Right?
Did you just see that?
No, what are you?
A white, not an orb, not a fluff, like a white, about this long, just floated right up and went over there.
Interesting. Well, okay. So for the listeners who are on Spotify or any of the other platforms, go to YouTube and you'll be able to spot check that time mark on our.
Yeah, I don't know who was coming in to say, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. So, sometimes when I'm preparing for like a class or a teaching that I'm doing with people, and I'm feeling disconnected and I'm surrounded by notes or deadlines and I don't have a spark, what I find will bring me back instead of pushing harder is getting out into nature, just like you were talking about with your dog. And sometimes I have, as you know, my power animal, my master spirit animal is a raven. And I love it because I'll have the window open here in my office. And if I'm getting too into myself, there's a raven that comes and visits and sits in the tree. And it's almost like an instant reconnection to spirit. It's almost like, okay, get out of the doldrums, get back into that connection, and remember that there's balance. There always needs to be balance between that mind, body, soul, right? Because we tend to, I think, we try to have balance, but we, like let's say we're learning from a medium while we're in our spiritual. Let's say I'm at the gym, I'm in my physical, right? We're at work, so we always tend to be in sort of one compartmentalization. So that's an interesting part. So I feel
I wish my power animal would just show up.
I don't think badgers are in the city.
I'm going to play that. I'm pretty sure a bad is not going to present itself on my front lawn. Oh gosh, could you imagine? My dogs would lose their ever-loving mind.
I think they would actually. Badgers are mean. Like I think a badger mean. They would totally go after like your dogs. As badass as your dogs are, I think they would lose to a badger.
I don't know. Honey's got something up her butt. I'm telling you, if that honey badger was coming towards me, Honey would turn into a raving lunatic. I swear to the goddess. One of the things I want to mention here, Nan, if we're talking about noise and stuff and talking about being in your spiritual self and taking your out, one of the things I've never personally had a problem with, and this has been pointed out to me by, other spiritual practitioners, and I can remember Reverend Barbara Leonard saying this to me back in the days when Astral Connections was still a hot place to go and hang out back in Delta, and that's many moons ago. She said to me, I have never seen a medium turn on and off like a light switch.
Yeah, you definitely do that.
I just walk in and I'm on and I come off and I'm done.
Yeah.
And I think
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I think for me that's a bit of a saving grace, and it's a part of my personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's why trusting the process is so simple for me when I'm, mentoring other mediums and stuff, and they're like, how do you just turn on? I just trust the process so that I don't have to overthink it, and I can walk into a room and be on and then turn around and be off.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I don't want to get all like everybody down in the dumps about this episode, but I just want them to know that we're real people and we face real struggles just like anyone else. And so what are some of the things that I do or that they could do when the noise gets too loud? What I do now is I intentionally turn the alarm off and take a breath before I check my phone. And that's okay. It's okay to not be on the phone like right away. If I feel like I'm losing control or if I'm stressing out because my boss and I have sort of had it out or something like that's happened, I literally will try to reconnect with my spirit animal right away. Whether it's something as simple as maybe pulling an oracle card saying which animal's walking with me today, or connecting to that animal, connecting to, source and spirit and going, who's going to connect with me? I do love the fact that as most of our listeners know, I do a lot of work with animals, both living and past, and spirit animals. And I always have animals show up when I need to get out of my head. Like the other day, there was something that went down at work, and I was like stressing out, and a woodpecker showed up, and it was drilling on the side of the house, and it was like, oh, and then I went, hold on, okay, yes, thank you for the message. I know where this is coming from, and it just got me out of the headspace, which is what I really loved. So if I can't get myself out, sometimes I'll have spirit come in and get me out of the headspace. I turn on do not disturb in the evenings. So if anyone's going to text me, usually about 8 o'clock at night, the phone goes off, even though I'm still doing Instagram or Facebook. Because
I will find you. Delete your phone off at a certain time, and I'm like, what the hell you say?
It's true. Tara doesn't respond well to me not immediately replying. So,
I'm literally Gen Z when it comes to the whole thing of like privilege and expecting everything immediately. That is me. What do you mean you haven't answered me? I texted you 45 seconds ago. Where are you?
yes, Tara gets past do not disturb. But I've got a handful of people who can get past it. But the rest of the world, like my customers at my day job, they go to voicemail. The text can happen the next day. I have different tech-free zones. So if I'm going to sit down before bed and have a nice cup of tea, little rituals like that help a person just sort of reconnect. Other things that you can do, light a candle. It's pumpkin spice season, Tara, and it's my favorite. I am that person. I have the lattes, I have the Cheerios, I have all the pumpkin spice things. What do you?
I even have my pumpkin spice shirt that my baristas at Starbucks gave me. You're talking about pumpkin spice candles? I thought this was my Mabon candle for the fall equinox celebration I did on Sunday, and it says "Sex on the Beach." It is definitely not Mabon, but I love all things pumpkin. I used to love fall. Like I mean, I don't know if I don't love fall anymore. Again, things change when trauma happens and you see things differently or things just feel different. But I love me a good candle. Yeah. I love a good candle. I love, sitting in that little bit of a darker space,
And scent can really get us reconnected quickly to spirit because it's showing spirit that we're setting intention to work with them. But the smell of the candle, the lighting of the candle, the ritual of it, can really help for a beautiful connection. And I find it just gets the head out of the overthinking and the constant chatter in my mind.
Yeah.
I will take, I'm a diehard crystal collector, and I also am one of those people that collects feathers wherever I go. I'll put a crystal and a feather on my desk just to remind me. I have, fun fact, another thing, my husband and I loved garage selling, and when my son was small, we would look for all sorts of really cool toys. And I'm from the generation that grew up on Sesame Street, and I have literally a Sesame Street Cookie Monster that sits on my dresser, and I have a little Smurf that is one of the magical ones with a potion that my 27-year-old son bought me because I used to love Smurfs, and I'll put it on my desk just to remind myself that's joy, that's happiness. This just work. So there's little things that you can do to get out of that and bring the magic back in. And there's nothing that plugs people into magic more than thinking back to when you were a child and you sat in that moment of pure joy. Like if you think back in your childhood, Tara, what was one thing that brought you sheer joy?
Reading.
Okay.
Reading like nonfiction. Reading fictional books. I love things like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Right.
When I was pregnant with, I think it was Ryan, maybe Lana, but I like the whole summer that I was pregnant, I laid in my backyard and read every Harry Potter book that was out there. Like that's my kind of jam, and that's why I said to you, it was sort of sad that, reading is just not something, I need something that I don't really have to think.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I need to look at the baby cows and the baby goats and the,
Exactly. And I still do. Like today, I had a very interesting meeting with my boss. I was stressed. I'm not going to lie. I picked my phone up. I went to Instagram and I looked at little baby Highland cows and I looked at, animal rescue stuff. And I just went, huh, I feel good. And I put my phone back down and I carried on with my day. So, some people will journal, some people will brain dump and write everything out. I'm going to just put this to our listeners. What's one small thing that they could ritualize this week that's just going to bring that joy back in and silence the noise a little bit?
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, some stories of people in my life where it illustrates how magic sort of sneaks in and spirit reconfirms our connection. I had a client where her late mother's favorite song was playing unexpectedly in a grocery store when she was really missing her, right? These are our signs and symbols from spirit where we go, yes, there's magic in the chaos. There's magic in the noise. Like no matter how loud that grocery store was, oh, hey, Mom, we're still connected, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, like even just recently when I was at a trade show, and of course for the listeners, I'm definitely going through menopause where I will randomly just feel like crying for no reason or things are happening. And I was at this trade show and I just thought, I feel like crying. I don't know why I feel like crying because I'm so happy. I'm having a good day. And I literally felt spirit come in behind me and put their hands on my shoulders. And it just regrounded me. So magic doesn't have to live in forests or in Lord of the Rings or different places like that. It can be unexpected. It can come in where we least expect it, and it's definitely a good pick me up and a reconnection.
I love that. I agree. Everyone has to find their own way. Everyone does.
Definitely. So I want to do a little exercise for our listeners. And it's just a little 3-minute connection practice if they're ever feeling overwhelmed or that things are too noisy. And it's very similar to one we just did on a previous podcast, which made me sort of chuckle as we were doing the last one. Like, it's similar to what I'm going to be doing soon. But so listen to the previous podcast if you're wondering what Tara did for her exercise. So basically, you put your hands on your heart, okay? And just you want to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and release for 6. And then I want you to whisper the words, I am connected, I am here. And it's really that simple. It's really that simple. And I'd love for you to also add your gap exercise to this because I feel that is a beautiful, immediate connection.
Love it.
So could you tell them what the gap exercise is?
Grounding, ascension to set intentions, and protection. So you ground to Mother Earth, you ascend to the God of your understanding, Goddess, Buddha, Krishna. You place your intentions for the day. Baby, this is what I'm aiming to do. Who's helping me out? And then you place the white light around yourself. Please place the white light in and around me all through the day and all through the night.
I love that.
That's a gap. G-A-P-P.
And those are things that... Yeah. Those are things that the listeners can easily do. And it just really replugs us in really quickly. And it helps quiet the noise. Some days I win, some days I don't. You've listened to me on the days I don't. But it's really not a destination. It's about the rhythm. It's about us experiencing life. It's about the ebb and flow of it. We're always connected. So as much as we feel we're not, that's when we have to be in our human. And it's okay to just go through the flow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not failing if you're feeling overwhelmed. I want everyone to know that you're human. Take time to pause, to breathe, and invite the simplest magic back in and know that you're succeeding. And that's it.
Well, my goodness.
So listeners, please share your magic moments with us. Go to our Instagram, join the Spirit Lounge where we have deeper conversations around that, and engage with us. We love having conversations with you guys around all of the stuff we talk about.
And if we can help you in any way, like level up that intuitive energy around yourself, we would be willing to do it, let me tell you.
Absolutely. So I want to thank everyone for joining us for this episode. Definitely find us on all of our platforms. I'm found everywhere, Nancy Christine Brady, and you are found
Spirit Essence by Tara Diana.
Give us a shout out as well, because it helps get our algorithms and all those things we know nothing about up. We rely on social media people for that.
5-star us. Give us a good review. Tell your friends about us. It really does help us. And with that, Nan and I bid you
adieu.
Farewell.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the wonderfully weird and metaphysical.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to follow us for more insights and behind the scenes fun.